Hello, friends. It has been a hot minute, but welcome to a brand new episode of Drunk Discussions. I have a very special guest joining me on this week's episode, so without further ado, let's get things started.
This podcast is part of the OIWP Podcasting Network.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another edition of Drunk Discussions. On this episode, I have a very special guest with me. Before I introduce him, though, I would like to quickly apologize. I know it's been a hot minute. It's been about a month and a half since I've released an episode. I've had a lot going on in my personal life. We will get into that on the next episode. But on this episode, this is a very, very special episode. I'm very, very pleased to welcome back to the show Pretty Ricky Willdy. Pretty Ricky, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Good to see you. I'm glad to be here. It's going to be a good day.
Yeah, I'm always glad to talk to Pretty Ricky. Last time we had you on, you were helping to promote the Arthur Cofield Memorial Show, and that was just an absolutely fantastic show. Anybody that was there knows how good it was. Anybody that wasn't there, you missed out on a fantastic show.
I do appreciate that. Yeah, that show really did come together. Things worked out. There was a little bit of magic in the air. I don't know, a little bit of Frosty the Snowman, magic hat kind of stuff working for us. Everything that could go right did go right, and I couldn't thank everyone who helped out with that project because exactly what you said. Yeah, things did click, and it was a very good night to be there.
And it was a very tremendous and emotional night for the Cofield family, but the show itself went off perfectly without a hitch, at least from an audience member perspective. I don't know how it was backstage running the show and everything, but from the audience member perspective, it was a tremendous show. So I applaud you and everyone else that was involved with that show.
Well, I started having a heart attack about 6 weeks out from the show, and it continued right until the day after. So that's more or less what we're in the middle of again.
Yes, and as people may be seeing on your background, we do have another show coming up that you're here to promote. It is the Dropkicks for Devin event. It is happening on June the 10th. Taking place at the Boys and Girls Club of Brantford, 2 Edge Street in Brantford, Ontario. Doors open at 7 o'clock, bell time 7:30. $20 general admission, $500 VIP. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But why don't you tell us a little bit about Devin and what this is going towards helping out?
So I'm making the long story short, but basically, Devin has been one of my biggest supporters, biggest wrestling fans in Brantford, and he's my brother's best friend. So this guy suffered a very serious accident in January through no fault of his own, and because of that, he's been in hospitals and going through different medical procedures, leaving him very much unable to come home for a great portion of time, as well as be able to pay his bills. So friends, his community, his support system have come together to help him with the GoFundMe, and that got a long ways, but every little bit does help. So instead of asking those kind folks to be so generous once again, instead, we're trying to give them a show of a lifetime to make their monies a little bit further. And again, all proceeds going directly to Devin and to his recovery. And it really does feel like the entire community of Brantford is coming out and helping us put this thing together. So I couldn't be more grateful to my city, to the community, and again, to Devin's friends and family. They have shown nothing but love and support to try and make sure that this show goes just the way that we want it to.
Which is absolutely tremendous that you have the support. I know you mentioned he's been in and out of hospital, but you know, spiritual-wise, mental-wise, how's he doing? Is he in good spirits right now?
So,
all things considered?
He's actually doing way better than expected, because there was a time when the seeds of this show were getting put together, it really did seem like a very bleak outcome was coming. It does seem like he's doing way better than we thought, so we are so happy about that. The question of whether or not he's going to be able to make it to the show is still very much in the air. We originally had the show planned for March 18th, but we're dealing with different levels of government, so things got delayed and pushed back, and now we're doing it June 10th, and I'm very happy about that date. But so people were excited because having been pushed back that far, maybe he would be able to show up, make an appearance, something like that. And honestly, it's coming down to how close another surgery is booked, whether or not he'll be able to be there. So things are looking up for Devin, and we're very happy about that. And we are more or less looking at this show as one last thing to get him over the bridge so he can come home and be back to what we all remember him being.
Well, and he is a wrestling fan, so even if he's not able to make it there in person, obviously he's going to be there in spirit. He's going to want the show to be a success. I know he's probably going to be rooting for you and everybody else that's on the card for that show.
Absolutely. Like, there's a reality here that we could have done a car wash for Devin. You know what I mean? We could have done a bake sale for Devin, but we're not. We're doing Dropkicks for Devin because this is something that I can actually give to him. So it's not just the matter of like how much money can I raise at this show. That is the goal. That is what the team is trying to do, trying to raise as much money as possible here. But on top of that, I've been able to put Devin on a wrestling poster. You know what I mean? He's a big wrestling fan. Now he's on the poster. So I get to give him that. I got Devin on the ticket. So I get to give him that. I got Devin on the label of the commemorative bottle of wine that we're giving out to different people who are coming to the show. And he gets to keep that. And I got Devin on a billboard in Brantford. So I don't know if that's on social media yet. I'll have to check back on that. But the billboard is hanging out at Wayne Gretzky and Henry Street in Brantford, Ontario. And Devin gets to be a part of that as well. So that's what I'm able to do through this event. So we're very excited to not be able to just raise funds, but also give Devin a little bit of a moment and an event memory that he'll never be able to recreate, hopefully.
And I mean, it's a lot of wrestling fans' dreams to be on billboards and posters and tickets. So Devin is definitely being taken care of, not just financially, but just in terms of, making sure that he's in good spirits and happy with everything as well, which is good to see.
Exactly. I got a T-shirt being whipped up. If I could get him an action figure, I'd do that too, but I don't have the ability to do that just yet. So video game's coming, but one day at a time.
And I should mention, because it is on the little graphic behind you there, people can buy the tickets at eventbrite.com. So be sure you're going there to get your tickets and help support a great cause. There have been a couple of matches already announced. Yes. We have Matt Black taking on Carew. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes, you are.
And we also have a steel cage main event match between yourself and one tough son of a bitch in John Greed.
John Greed has been the guy to answer the call to come for the Brantford Heavyweight Championship. But
yes, I forgot to mention it's for the championship.
I love this city. I'm fighting for this city. This city has been nothing but great to me. And the idea that he's going to walk into my territory and try to take this away from me is impossible. So, let's go back. Matt Black versus Carew. These guys are a couple of studs. These are a couple of champions. Carew has been all over Canada, all over the world. He's from Kurdistan. He's been wrestling all over the place. A little protege of Asylum. No one knows that, whatever. And then he's taking on Matt Black. Matt Black is the guy who won Jacques Rougeau's inaugural Loot Academy. He's the guy who went on and trained at the Nightmare Factory under Cody Rhodes. He's the guy who wrestled the first match in AEW's history on Canadian soil. So he opened that show. So Matt Black is an absolute stud. Guy's 6'3", jacked to pieces, and he's going to be wrestling this Kurdistan monster, Carew. So those guys are going to steal this show quite possibly. These two are going to tear into each other, and in my head, this is the sleeper because no one sees this coming. These are two guys who are fairly under the radar as killers. So I am very much looking forward to that match. Hopefully I'll be able to see it. Might be the next night if I'm being honest, if I'm not too concussed. And that brings me to my match with John Greed. So here's the story of this. I had the mayor come out last August to Ricky Fest, was the name of the show. And he christened this the Brantford Heavyweight Championship. Me versus Jeff Black. We waged war. We tore into each other. And ultimately I came out the victor. We shook hands. Things were cool and harmonious in Brantford. I had fireworks. I had the mayor. Check my Instagram. It was unbelievable. Unfortunately, I was then mugged and assaulted by a very heavy-set man, and I was very upset about that. So I challenged him immediately to a steel cage match. I was promising the city of Brantford a steel cage match. And then, because of the delays from the cities and governments and different political systems, the person that I was supposed to wrestle retired, moved on with his life. And I now had a big old matzo ball of I got the Brantford Heavyweight Championship. I got a steel cage match promised. I got this huge event. What can I do here? They thought maybe I don't do a steel cage match, but this is for Devin. So this is the biggest match that I can give him. I've already promised the city. Let's give him the steel cage.
You have to give them the steel cage.
You got to give the people what they want. So then I just needed a challenger. And thankfully, Brantford Wrestling General Manager, Chief of Staff, Outlaw Scott Chase, Brantford Wrestling legend, former Brantford Heavyweight Champion. He went through, he contacted as many people as he could, tried to figure out who was the top contender, figure out Ontario's. And honestly, the best thing that made the most sense is John Greed. Now, here's the deal. Me and John Greed were friends prior to this match being announced. And ever since then, he's been a real dick to me. So I don't know. He's kind of giving me the cold shoulder. I don't know if he's trying to get himself synced up, but if he's coming to Brantford, he's trying to take this title, it will be a war inside of that cage. I will tear into him and try to eat his flesh. So, he better be ready for it.
And I've seen quite a few John Greed matches over the years. Once he has a match announced against somebody, doesn't matter how long he's known them, that friendship ends until the match is over.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting that vibe. Again, we've got Brantford Wrestling cleared with City Council, with the mayor. We got a lot of nice stuff going on here. So I think John Greed's trying to take that. You know what I mean? Because there's some big boy positions on the line here, and he's trying to take it. So again, all the power to him. But again, what I do outside of Brantford is a different story. What I do inside of Brantford is a different feeling, animal, energy, vibration that I could possibly describe. It is on another level. These people have been too kind and supportive and lovely to me over these years. They've given so much to me that I have to give the best of myself. So if he's looking for a little rigmarole laugh around in the cage, he's got the wrong guy. I'm gonna rip him to shreds.
Pretty Ricky is not just gonna roll over, especially in his hometown, especially when it's for Devin.
God dang right. God dang right. You will notice that I will not dedicate this match to Devin as much as I would like to, but I feel like if I do that, then I have to win. And if I'm being honest with you, he might brutalize me. So I'm not making that guarantee, but I will try my best, and I will at least bite him and remove a chunk of his flesh if I have to.
Well, and I mean, plus, the whole event is really dedicated to Devin. So
yes, 100%.
It's just going to be icing on the cake when you beat John Greed.
Yes, that's a good way to look at it. I like the perspective.
Now, speaking of the steel cage, obviously in wrestling, there's a lot of variations on steel cage matches. So is this one where you can win by escaping the cage, or is this just going to be a slugfest and it has to be won by pin or submission?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I was politicking my ass off because that's kind of what I do. And I was really hoping that this was going to be an escape-only kind of match. Because if I'm being honest, no way he's climbing over that cage before I can dart out the door. And there's no way he's darting out the door without me slamming it on his head. So, that seems like a cinch for me. However, I believe it is pinfall or submission or escaping the cage. I believe that is where we've landed on it. But until the ring announcer says it before the match, I can't be guaranteed of anything. These people have pulled tricks on me before, and I'll be ready for anything come that day.
They're always just trying to double cross you.
Well, I mean, as soon as you're the guy with the belt, a little bit of good look in the face and the t-shirt, they try to come take the spot.
And the streamer guns.
And the streamer guns. People have been trying to scheme those away from me since I started.
Now, I've also, on the match graphics, I've seen Casey Spinelli, who's one of the most underrated and underappreciated, not just women, but just talents in Canadian wrestling.
So tremendously talented. And let's just look back on her resume this year, okay? She's been on Impact Wrestling, she's been on AEW television, and she's been on WWE television within one calendar year.
Yep.
Do you think they're bringing in schmucks and schmuckolas?
Absolutely not.
They're bringing in the best of the best, and that's why Casey Spinelli was there and is coming to Dropkicks for Devin.
And does she officially have an opponent announced as of yet?
Well, we're talking to a few people, and we're trying to get that thing. So I cannot reveal that just yet. We are trying to track that down. I can't guarantee even if it will be one or two opponents. Again, that's why the secrecy for the moment right now. We're still talking to a couple of lovely young ladies, and honestly, I'm the last guy to know. So as soon as we find out, we will let you know. But that one is still on under wraps from what I hear.
That is quite fair. Having said that, are there any other names that you can give us that might be appearing on the show?
Absolutely, absolutely. One big name that's not on the poster. Let me run through the poster real quick. We got Carew. He's already been talked about. He's facing Matt Black. We got the big guy, the big guns, Bradford Montague coming in from PEI. And we got the last action hero, Clash Kincaid. So these gentlemen will be in action. But if we're just going to throw out some other people that are going to be appearing tonight, or sorry, on June 10th, my apologies, it will be Stratosphere is going to be on the show. Big top talent, not nearly enough shows and bookings for this guy. He's amazing.
He really is. Yep.
We were able to snag him for Brantford Wrestling, so I'm so excited to have him there. And this one blew me away because this guy apparently messaged City Council himself and tried to get himself on this, so we love that kind of gumption. Reverso is coming to Brantford Wrestling for Dropkicks for Devin. And again, this is a guy who's on Impact Wrestling regularly. He is a stud. Do you see his six-pack? Because it's turning into an eight-pack quickly, all right? The guy's amazing, and he has brought himself to Dropkicks for Devin. So again, the team we have here, the roster we have here, nothing but love and support, and we got some very talented people coming down to Brantford.
And I'm a big fan of Stratosphere. He was a friend of the show back when I was doing the Ocho and Ortiz wrestling podcast. So just a quick shout out to Stratosphere. He's a tremendous guy, but he can be kind of sneaky and underhanded when he gets in the ring.
Absolutely, and I'm keeping my eyes aware of that. I know he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder and can be pretty devious, so I'm trying to keep him away from me when we are out there. But, you know, it's a wrestling show and anything can happen. People are trying to make their moments.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Now, I did mention earlier that there are VIP tickets to the show for $500. What do the VIP tickets include and get the people that buy them?
So the $500 table experience includes 5 admission tickets, 10 drink tickets, a sponsorship package to be plastered all over Brantford Wrestling and Dropkicks for Devin, as well as a VIP photo session. As well, the table up front and a large piece of pizza. Sorry, a large pizza from Boston Pizza. I apologize. It's not one piece. It's a whole pie. Anyways, the only issue with that is that those have actually entirely sold out. So we are out of the $500 tables. We do still have a couple of sponsorship packages that we are selling off, but beyond that, we are just at general admission. So things are flying fast and furious. Brantford loves wrestling. Brantford's got a deep history of wrestling, and the whole city's getting fired up for this event.
Now, speaking of those sponsorship openings that you still have, if there is anybody out there that would be interested in sponsoring the show, how can they go about doing that? Who can they reach out to in order to help out?
Reach out to myself on Instagram or any other social media, or Brantford Wrestling. The team will find that and handle it there. You can email us at brantfordwrestling@gmail.com or btfdwrestling@gmail.com. We got them all, and we answer them all, okay? Everything will be answered in due time. And we've had some tremendous sponsors. Mike and Tyler specifically, I believe, from Barry Wrestling. Hell of a man, hell of a commentator, hell of a podcaster. He gave us a signed Trish Stratus magazine, which blew me away.
Nice.
D&D United Martial Arts in Brantford, which is actually the first place that I was ever doing martial arts as a child. They had reached out and they donated a bunch of signed autographed action figures, including a Dude Love from like 2005, I believe, signed by the man with 2 different colored paint pens. So we got some big old prizes, and all those guys, we're very much thankful for them and putting them as sponsors, regardless of the transaction. So there's plenty of different levels, and we do appreciate everybody's generosity and help as much as we can get.
And you did say that they can reach out to you on social media, so I just want to say, anybody out there, it's at Pro Willdy on Instagram and Twitter. That's PROWILLDY, Pro Willdy, Instagram and Twitter. So be sure.
I said it better than myself. That was good. I liked it.
Even if you're not reaching out to him for a sponsorship, follow the man on social media. Follow the man.
Follow, come on. And at Brantford Wrestling is at BTFD Wrestling, but same thing. You can find us either way. We're linked.
And you did mention earlier that there is also a GoFundMe for Devin. Do you happen to know the link for that if people want to donate directly to the GoFundMe?
I don't know the website off by hand. I believe if you go to GoFundMe.com, you can type in Devin Ryan, DevinRyan, and you can donate there. Again, this accident happened in January, so people were very generous and did put towards that GoFundMe. So we're not necessarily trying to rekindle that, just because you can only ask for people to be so generous. But I mean, if someone's looking to, by all means, feel free. But that was the intention behind the wrestling show, that these people have given so much. We're trying to give them a little something and still drum up that support for Devin.
Oh, absolutely. But obviously, for those that can't make it out to Brantford, that might be in other areas of Ontario, it's definitely another way that they can help support and give to the cause.
And the idea that the wrestling community and wrestling fans around Ontario are helping out my family like that, I cannot thank the people enough. It's crazy. I didn't think about it because it's such a weird vagabond style, sort of lifestyle, but there's a lot of roots being created there. You know what I mean? You know these people for a long time, and you do develop these connections and relationships. It's very strange how you age.
100%. 100%. Now, I know at the Arthur Cofield Memorial, you had one really interesting stipulation match, which was the loser of the match had to get waxed, and that was tremendous. It ended up being fan involvement with that as well. Is there going to be any sort of interest in stipulations this time around?
The amount of people that I have messaged, and the first thing they respond to me is that they will not have their legs waxed, has been preposterous. Okay. So unfortunately, they won't let me anywhere near the booking committee. I think it's kind of bogus because I was definitely trying to get Casey Spinelli and whoever to have whoever got pinned, got their head shaved. Spinelli was in, but it was really hard to find an opponent. So it's a challenge, So unfortunately, the city council and the people of Brantford won't let me book this thing. Sadly, Outlaw Scott Chase has turned down plenty of my ideas of trying to get different people to more or less humiliate themselves in different manners. So he wants to have a more clean, respectable wrestling show. But I'm trying to wiggle myself in. And the idea that I might just take the buzzers and take them to Greedy while we're wrestling, I'm not saying it's not going to happen.
Well, that was actually going to be my follow-up question is because, you have a solid goatee going on.
Yes.
John Greed has a solid beard. Yes. Why not go goatee versus beard?
I don't hate that. I certainly don't. Here's the problem. I would shave off my goatee in a heartbeat to keep the Brantford Heavyweight Championship. So to me, that's still got to be the top prize on the billing. But yeah, if I could take Greedy to the limit in a steel cage and then get someone to toss me in a buzzer. Because again, if he's coming to my city to challenge me, that he's stepping on my toes. So if I could pay him back by shaving him down, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And what's crazy about this city is I do think that while some places may see me as a bully for doing that, I believe this city will receive me as a hero if I knock the man unconscious and shave him bald. So, it's really anyone's ballgame what happens there.
If that opportunity arose, if somebody happened to throw you a pair of buzzers, what would you go for? Would you go for his hair? Would you go for his beard?
You're right. I would probably do one straight buzz from the chin to the mustache right through to the hair because then good luck to him after the next night. Even if he brushes me off there, good luck. How are you going to fix that? You're going to grow that patch back in? So yeah, I think I'll have his number at that point.
Well, we're gonna start winding down. Is there anything else that you want to mention about the show before we sort of start wrapping things up?
No, you know what? I think you hit all the bullet points. The Brantford Heavyweight Championship is being defended in a steel cage. Pretty Ricky Willdy against John Greed at Dropkicks for Devin. That's June 10th at the Boys and Girls Club in Brantford, Ontario. We are very excited about it, as well as City Council and the Mayor. We're brought to you by Brantford Apparel and Bayless Printing. We got a whole lot of fun packed into that one afternoon, and Rogers TV has actually just signed on to film the thing. So
nice.
We got a whole bunch of production coming in. It's going to be a 5-star night of entertainment. If you want to see it, you got to be there. Message Brantford Wrestling, message Pretty Ricky Willdy. That's at PROWILLDY or at BTFD Wrestling, and I do appreciate and thank you for all the love and support.
And once again, that's 2 Edge Street, the Boys and Girls Club, Brantford, Ontario. Doors open at 7, bell time 7:30. General admission tickets are only $20. It's going to a great cause, and you can buy those tickets directly from Eventbrite, eventbrite.com. Ricky, always a pleasure having you on the show. You do a tremendous job, not only in the ring, but just as a human being helping out other human beings. Honestly, we need more Ricky Wildies in this world. We need more
people. You're gonna make me blush. Come on.
We need more people who are there to help the community and other people in need. So I greatly appreciate what you do. I appreciate you coming on the show and letting people know about the event.
Well, I mean, if I had thousands of dollars, I would just give it to him, but I don't. So this is the best thing that I can do, and why not have some fun with it? I really do appreciate you having me on here, giving me your platform to try and get my verbiage out and my stories here. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time.
No worries. And for the listening audience, that's going to wrap things up for now. As always, guys, whether you're listening to this in the morning, the evening, the afternoon, whatever time of day it is, where you are when you're listening, I appreciate you listening. I thank you for listening, and I will talk to everybody again very, very soon.